Have you ever found yourself dreaming of starting your own travel company right in the heart of the Himalayas? It's an amazing goal. Today, we're going to map out the exact legal roadmap you need to follow to make that dream a reality in Nepal. Let's get this expedition started.
So, is this you? Do you picture yourself guiding adventurers through those absolutely breathtaking landscapes, sharing the incredible culture of Nepal? It's a fantastic ambition. But, before the real adventure begins, you've got to climb a different kind of mountain first, the one made of legal paperwork.
Okay, the very first thing we have to get our heads around is that tourism in Nepal is a seriously regulated industry, and for a really good reason. It's all about making sure travelers are safe and protecting one of the country's most vital industries. Trying to fly under the radar? It's not a shortcut, it's a complete dead end that's going to lead to fines, getting shut down, and wrecking your reputation before you even get off the ground.
So why even bother with all this process? Well, because it's the only way to build a business that's going to last and that people will trust. Let's think of this next part as our expedition checklist. We're going to break down every single piece of gear you need to successfully launch your company.
All right, this list right here, this is your essential gear for the journey. When you look at it, it really boils down to three main things. You have to become a legally registered company, you have to get set up with the tax office, and then you have to get that all-important license from the Department of Tourism. We'll also see how things like a bank account, a physical office, and joining industry groups are all part of the picture.
Okay, let's get into it. Step 1. Company and tax. Before you can even think about guiding people up a mountain, your business has to legally exist. This is your base camp. It's the solid foundation that everything else is built on.
Your first big decision is about your company's structure. Now, most people go for a private limited company, and there's a huge reason for that. It creates a legal firewall between your business's finances and your personal finances. That limited liability, it's a critical safety net you're going to want.
So this lays out the setup process in a really clear order. You start by snagging your company name. Then, you've got to draft your company's constitution, these key documents called the MOA and AOA. Once that's done, you submit everything to the Office of the Company Registrar, or OCR, and bam, you're registered. The final piece of this step is getting your tax number, your PAN, from the tax office. Once you've got that, your base camp is officially set up.
All right, with your company legally formed, you're ready for the main ascent. This is the big one. It's the most demanding part of the whole process, getting your license from the Department of Tourism. This is the piece of paper that officially says, yes, you can operate in the travel business.
Just looking at this list, you can tell that being organized is everything. You're going to need all your company and tax paperwork, proof that you have an office, details about your staff, and, this is a big one, proof of a bank guarantee or minimum capital. The government really wants to see that you're a serious, well-funded operation.
And hey, don't think this is just a paper-pushing exercise. In a lot of cases, an official from the department will actually come to your office for a physical inspection to make sure you have a legitimate place of business. Your website needs to be backed up by a real-world address.
Okay, so we've covered what you need to do, but now let's talk about how long it's going to take and what you need to watch out for. Every expedition has its hazards, and knowing where they are is the best way to avoid them.
This timeline gives us a pretty realistic idea of what to expect. Getting the company and tax stuff done is actually pretty quick, but that tourism license, that's the longest part of the journey. It can take up to 6 weeks, sometimes even longer. You've got to plan your launch date with that in mind.
Now what about the cost? You might see this figure, 25,000 rupees, floating around as a possible license fee. But, and this is super important, you should never rely on numbers you find online or hear from someone else. Official fees can change, and they do. The only number that matters is the one you get straight from the Department of Tourism. Always, always verify.
Here is the first major trap, a real classic mistake. When you're writing your company's founding documents, that Memorandum of Association, or MOA, you have to explicitly say that your business activities include things like tourism or travel services. If you forget that little detail, the Department of Tourism can flat out reject your application.
Trap number 2 is all about money. The amount of minimum capital or the bank guarantee you need isn't set in stone. The government can update it. Just assuming an old number you heard is right is a really common and expensive mistake. Always check the current official requirement before you do anything with your bank.
And now for the third trap. This is probably the most critical one to avoid. Do not, I repeat, do not start taking clients or running tours before you have that official license physically in your hand. I know the temptation is there to get started, but the legal and financial penalties for jumping the gun are huge. It is just not worth the risk.
So you made it.
You reach the summit, you got your license. That's a massive achievement, but the journey isn't over. Now you've got to maintain your position up there. Ongoing compliance is what keeps you in business for the long haul.
So what does that actually involve? Well, it means renewing your license every so often, filing your annual reports for the company, and keeping up with your tax filings. It's just a continuous cycle of good governance that keeps your business healthy, legal, and always ready for the next adventure.
So there you have it, the founder's roadmap. The legal path, while it has a lot of details, is totally clear and manageable. Once you have this foundation in place, the real question isn't about the paperwork anymore. It's about your vision. Your company is legally ready to go. So is your business ready for the incredible adventure that's waiting?